Okay, I guess it's time for a reckoning. A reckoning about a film that I made. Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore, and I'm joined today by Dahlia Schweitzer. She is the author of Going Viral, Zombies, Viruses, and the End of the World. And it's might be the end of my world after I hear your review of a film that I made years ago. I co-wrote and produced a feature called My Big Fat Independent Movie. And I was like, it's been a long time. I'm curious what someone thinks of this. And I sent you a copy of the film. Dahlia, what are your thoughts on this? By the way, if you're watching this, you can just Google, if you're on YouTube, look up My Big Fat Independent Movie. You can check out a trailer for it. It's actually not available digitally, but you can buy it used on Amazon for 99 cents. So I think that's what I did. I bought a 99-cent copy and I sent it your way. So I'm curious what just now that I've had years of perspective on this, what are your thoughts?
Well, I always tell my students that if they ask me my opinion, they're going to get my opinion. And then I feel like platitudes don't really benefit anybody. But that said, I was really kind of hoping that maybe you'd forget that we were going to record an episode about your movie.
Yes. Oh no. I'm not sick. It was involuntary. But this is like, look, I have no illusions. It's a parody spoof comedy of independent films, which I come to learn, one, the audience that would even know these movies, everything from Amelie to Pulp Fiction to El Mariachi, are not the ones that would appreciate fart jokes. That's
that's a big problem, I think.
That's a huge problem. So that I was going with looking at Blazing Saddles as inspiration, where Blazing Saddles, I always believe when kind of a genre's sort of reached its sort of it's got to evolve or die, like the Western, then a spoof parody comes along like Blazing Saddles. And so my thinking was, well, independent films have gotten to the point where they're just so many recognizable tropes, the road trip, there're just so many things that have just become, in my opinion, parody because they're so often used in independent films. I thought, well, now it's time to give independent film genre the spoof treatment. That was my thinking going in. Did I succeed?
I kept thinking, I just kept having this Venn diagram in my head of kind of like what you were just saying, where it would be the people who would get the references and the people who would laugh at the jokes, and they didn't really overlap. And I think, and which isn't to say that this can't be done, because I feel like I agree with you that whenever there is this kind of overuse of tropes, there is so much potential for comedy and satire. And that's, I think, why Shaun of the Dead and Scream are both so successful, because they take their respective genres and sort of turn them inside out. But I feel like I think the audience that was being targeted with that movie was not the audience that you could have been targeting, and that maybe you could have raised the bar a little bit. It just felt because I feel like those are smart movies, and that's not to say that, teenage boys don't watch them, but I just felt like I wanted the movie to be geared to a slightly older demographic. And I felt like, because there are moments where you sort of comment on these tropes, and it's if I do X, Y, Z, this movie's going to have more independent cred, and stuff like that is hilarious, because it's true, and it's if you have, a hero who's tortured in exactly this way, then it's going to seem like it's a Coen Brothers movie. I mean, all that stuff is true. But it just, you got to cool it with the fart jokes.
Well, I don't disagree with you. This is where I think the film would have benefited from going through a development process, right? Having a development and marketing executive look at it. It was really just me and a couple screenwriters and director Phil Zlotarinsky going, well, this is funny to us, but we were looking at parodying. I feel like you're right. That Venn diagram is just very thin, margin there. So I don't know that really worked. And even like I remember when I finished it and I was like, oh my God, we're going to be in Best Buy, right? Like you can get like the double, well, now you can get it for 99 cents on Amazon, but, like, I remember thinking, well, I give myself like a C. This was like my learning movie. This was my first feature as producer. And I kind of made mistakes on it, that I look back and go, well, I can do a better job. I think I've always kind of looked at anything I've created as like, well, I give myself a B, like with this, I give myself like a C, maybe C minus, just because, there's missed opportunities. And I also just think that but I feel like the expectation for that genre is so low when it comes to spoof comedies. I don't even know if that's even a genre anymore. It's certainly not one that's theatrical, So, yeah.
Going back to what you were just saying about a bunch of you guys in a room, is I think you also forget how unusual you are. And so...
What, me personally?
Yeah, you personally, and then whoever was on your creative team, because I feel like you might have been in the middle of that Venn diagram, but there aren't a lot of other people who are going to be in the middle of the Venn diagram.
Right.
So like you wrote a book about pooping and all these independent movies.
Well, let's not go. So it was sort of a parody children's book, but yes, I did.
You still wrote a book about pooping.
Right. But a parody of Tara Gomi's famous Everyone Poops book. So keep that in mind. But yeah, no, look, it was a learning experience. I look back, I'm like, yes, I feel like I've, it's one of those things where I wanted to learn to do certain types of things. There's 50 digital effect shots, and I actually got to cast some actors who I really like Paget Brewster and Clint Howard.
I love Paget Brewster.
I love Paget Brewster. She's awesome. So it was okay, it might have been a little bit more ambitious than the budget that we had. It was incredibly ambitious, but yeah. All right. I will take, all right, since you are a film professor, what grade do I get? Do I get graded on this? And what would be your thought process in the grading? I want to hear it,
Yeah. No, but totally. Because what I'd have to say is we'd have to agree on the rubric. Okay. And so it's what am I looking for? Because it's am I looking at your evolution along the course of the semester? Am I grading you on your references to other movies? Because I think one of the things about the movie that was brilliant is the really seamless way that you integrated. I don't know. It felt like you took 30 movies and put them in a blender, and then somehow you made a movie out of it. So that can't have been easy. So if I'm grading you on the sort of the intertextuality and how you incorporated all these other movies into your sort of patchwork quilt, that would actually get an A. If I'm grading you on the your wit and humor, that would probably be a C, because I don't really like fart jokes. If I'm grading the title song, the opening credits, that would be an A+, because that is brilliant.
Well, we spent honestly, we spent 2 years on that opening animated title.
It paid off.
Yeah, so that I'm really proud of. That was being worked on before there was a script.
Wow.
And before, so that was we got to have a cool musical with the title of the movie that, and it's sort of the downtrodden indie filmmaker typical journey of trying to sell a script, and then I'll just make a movie myself out of frustration, which was actually kind of my personal story. So I think I don't know how. See, I don't know how it would hold up now. I don't think this movie, if it came out now, I think people would hate it even more because of the vulgar nature of the humor.
I feel like your demographic would be very much teenage boys and nobody else.
All right. Well, then we know where my mind is. All right. First of all, Dahlia, where can people find you on social media?
Twitter, Instagram. I have a website. They can just Google my name. There aren't a lot of Dahlia Schweitzers out there.
Cool. And I want to thank you for watching and or listening to the Film Threat podcast and me getting graded on my feature movie that from 2005 that you can find on Amazon. So enjoy digging up that treasure. Dahlia, it's a pleasure to speak to you as always.
I hope I didn't hurt your feelings.
Oh, feelings? I nearly survived 2020. What feelings do I have? All right, take care.